Smiling Teacher, coming to you real quick because it seems like more than half the country right now is dealing with weather in some form, whether it's flooding or extreme winds or extreme snow. So, as an online teacher, that is one of the scariest things because I don't know if a lot of you realize, but with online teaching, if you miss a class, a lot of times you get two penalties. You usually get a monetary penalty for missing that class, and then you get a penalty against your contract for missing a class. Um, and most of the companies only have so many missed classes that you can have. Some of them are unforgiving and you can't miss any. Some of them are random and they don't give you a clear path as to when you might exhaust your contract because you're out. Now, some of the online classes that have been around for a while have a policy in place where some of your cancellations can be changed in strength or changed so that it doesn't impact or affect your contract. That's when you have things like you have to go to the emergency room, or your child is sick and you have to go to the emergency room, or your spouse or partner is sick and you have to go to the emergency room. So I'm always a preparation queen. I like to be prepared in advance so that I know what to do during an emergency. It's really hard to prepare during an emergency because you have so many things you have to think about. Um, I didn't prepare very well for my dad passing, and I knew the company policy was, it can be hairy, and I didn't want to have to fight to get my cancellations changed or any of that. So I taught. I I taught, and now I'm experiencing the other side of this bereavement, where I am running out of energy completely. So I've actually missed 3 classes. I have 3 no-shows charged against me, and it's basically because my body is now not wanting to wake up. So if I finally do get to sleep, I'm not waking up. And so that means my first class in the morning I'm missing. And I say it's my alarm, but it's not. I know what it is. And it's not something that can be documented or handed over to VIPKID to say I was at a funeral and that's why I missed class or canceled. So I know it's not something I can get excused for. But there are some things you can be excused for, and you should advocate for yourself. Um, so let's deal with the cancellations where you're just going to cancel. You're not going to teach. There's something happening that's more precedent in your life. Your company has a clear policy, a communication system in place where you submit a ticket. They're going to ask for evidence because people are not trustworthy. I'm so sorry. When these companies first started, they didn't have all these things in place. And then your friend Ray Ray, you know Ray Ray. All right, Ray Ray took advantage of the system, and because there was nothing in place. So, so Ray Ray saw opportunity. So I'm not mad at Ray Ray, but because of that, there are a lot of things in place to protect the company from people just calling out. In a regular teaching class, if I call out, they get a sub. I call, they get a sub, they get someone in there. And then if I'm in a regular teaching black and mortar class and they don't get a sub, they have to split up my classes. And the burden becomes big for the teachers that take those students and for the administrators trying to figure out how to work that out. It's similar with online. I know we don't want to be forgiving. I know we don't want to like see the other guy's side of the of the of the problem, but with tutoring, I've done face-to-face tutoring where I have one client and they're depending on me to come there. And it's hairy. It's a lot more hairy than a global wide teaching a black and mortar class because you're dealing with one client. They know you. They set their schedule up to include you. Like their schedule isn't, hey, drop your kid off at 8, come get them at 3. They don't really care about the fact that there's a sub-second period Parents don't have to find the sub. Parents don't have to wait for the sub. Their life is not interrupted. But when you're a tutor, you're carving into someone's private lifetime. And when you put together a tutoring company, you're taking the burden of however many clients you have, and you're promising them that your tutor is going to be there. I'm not saying this because I feel like you shouldn't cancel. I just need you to see the other side of what's going on when you need to cancel. Okay, so there aren't teachers in place where they already split it up and they just split the class up and it's good to go. They have one client, and that client may refuse a sub because they picked you. They're accustomed to you. That's doesn't matter, but when you cancel, that is what the other side is dealing with. So if it's a cancel that requires the cancellation not to be charged against you, because like I said, you had a health issue, a family issue, an emergency like storms coming in, earthquakes, tsunami, things you can't control, then you do what you need to take care of yourself at that moment. I know you want to go online. I know you're in a panic, and I know you're in a fervor, and you want to make sure that your company knows what's going on, but you're in the middle of an emergency. You got to take care of yourself first. So that means a lot of what you're going to do is going to be after the fact. Some of you may be able to do the cancellations before. You may be just so worried about losing your online job that you make that a priority where it shouldn't be. And so you're trying to figure out how to cancel. I'm going to address this as if you are responding after the emergency when you have more time to deal with it, because that's really when you need to respond to it. Okay? So after the emergency, you send in a ticket or you use whatever communication is in place, and you send evidence. A lot of times when there is an outage, you should send an outage map, like your internet went down. Get a picture of the outage map and then use snipping tool or something and mark where your house is and put my home so that that company knows this is where you live and this is where the outage is. Same for storms, same for all that other stuff, okay? You want to make sure that they have to do less work on the other side to prove that, yes, this was a real thing. A newspaper article is always helpful when there's like a weather condition issue or some sort of emergency that becomes published. So finding a newspaper article, I'm not talking printed, nowadays we do online, but it has to be reputable. It has to be name recognition. Like if you post Podunk Journal, they may not recognize it, but if it's coming from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Wall Street, Los Angeles Times, those are big newspapers. You can go online, cut, paste, snap, screenshot, send that as evidence as well. If you are having a family emergency, the doctor's note is not your fault. I'm going to just tell you this right now. Many of the doctor's offices and hospitals have some shisty looking paperwork they use to excuse you from missing work. It doesn't have a logo. It's not clear what company this is from, where you went to get seen. So if you get a doctor's note, you make sure they put their address on there. They put the title of their company if it's not the doctor itself. Make sure that is on the letter. Okay? If they have letterhead, get them to put it on letterhead. Make sure they are clear that they saw you on this date, that they excused you for these dates to these dates for missing work. A lot of times when your paperwork gets rejected, it is either because you don't take a clear picture on your phone. It looks like it's a good picture, but it's not. Should fill up the whole phone screen. Should not be blurry. Okay? Or the doctor's note looks like it was written by grandma because grandma loves you. So make sure you do that. Make sure you have an official something if you can get it. If it's written on chicken scratch and you can't read it, have them do it again. If it's a form letter and all that's there is a signature from a doctor, there's no letterhead, there's nothing, it's going to get rejected. I'm sorry. There are templates online for doctor's notes. For real. I'm sorry. Ray Ray is at it again, man. Ray Ray don't want to work. Oh, so submit that as evidence and then give them time. Sometimes you need to clarify things. Sometimes they have misread it. Be patient. If they keep rejecting it, go to your teacher voice contact, your teacher contact. There is somebody in that company that advocates for you as a tutor or online teacher. Get them involved if your information keeps being rejected. Do not just go, oh, whatever, and then let it slide. Okay, your contract is how you get your money. You don't want to lose your contract. So that takes care of most emergencies. If it's a funeral, they're going to ask for the obituary or the program if you went to the funeral. Make sure you grab that so that you can take a clear picture and send it to them. Sometimes the funeral homes actually have, similar to what like a doctor has, the funeral home has a letter or a note they can submit letting them know you were in attendance or having to plan. That was my problem. I was the planner. So a lot of my time and a lot of my energy was spent planning all of this stuff. So when I finally was not planning anymore, the energy balloon burst and I've just been coasting. So so just make sure you have some way to validate that you are having problems. They ask for a letter from your internet company. A lot of internet companies here don't provide that. So like I said, outage maps, it clearly indicate on that picture where your home is. Because often or not, they try to Google map where you live to see if this is true and it's not lining up perfectly. Put your address on there so that they know this is where you are, especially if your address that you currently are at does not match what's in your employee file or independent contracting file. And it doesn't, we move. We all move. So that's something you may not be thinking about. So this is after the fact emergency. Submit for it. Get your classes changed to where they don't charge against you. Now, even though they don't charge against you, because this is a tutoring situation, one-on-one with a client, where a full body is not taking care of the child between certain hours so the client doesn't have to worry, it may affect your bookings. Okay? It's an emergency, guys. There's nothing you can do about that, and after going through this, you need not stress. I should have canceled classes. I should have taken a break. I should have, and I know that. But I was just so worried about everything that I didn't want to have one more thing on my plate, and so I didn't do what I'm supposed to do. And now I'm looking at 3 TNSs into a brand new contract on different days. So breathe and deal with that. The second half of this is actually preventative measures that you can take when you're having emergencies like internet outages or such and whatnot. Okay, so I have internet at home through one carrier, and then I have my phone and tablet. It's a cheap tablet, Samsung. Don't get excited. I ain't living that kind of life. And I use it completely for my online teaching. So it goes into the taxes. So I have them on 2 different services because I've had a video you can check where I tell you to diversify your electronics, and this is why. Those of you who live in Las Vegas already know Cox cannot keep a consistent internet stream to save their life. Held at gunpoint, they can't do it. It's not happening. So I have had, in the last month, I've gone to sleep and Cox has been down, Or I wake up at 3 for my 4 o'clock class sometimes because I'm worried. Something wakes me up and I'm worried. And the internet's down. I've not missed the class because the internet's down. Okay. So, with that said, by diversifying your products, my Verizon phone has a hotspot and I can teach from my Verizon phone. So I just hook up my Wi-Fi. I don't usually teach Wi-Fi. I use Ethernet cord all times. I'm not playing with these online companies. But if I'm in a pinch and Cox is down, I use my hotspot on my phone. And that is a way to deal with internet shortages if you have diversified your electronics. But if you wake up and your lights are out, but the internet's working maybe on the phone still, you have another way that you can help prevent missing a class or having to cancel. I have an adapter, and I will put the link on the video. The adapter goes in my car. It will take the plug from my computer and I put it in the adapter, and my car will charge my computer. So I never lose computer battery if I am teaching in my car. I have my hotspot, and then I have my portable ring light that I bring with me. Push come to shove, I will take a sheet. I have a Star Wars sheet. The kids love seeing it. The parents know now when they see it, there's something wrong with my lights. And so usually toward the end of class, the parents will ask me, are you okay? Where are you? What's going on? I just put my sheet, I open up the car door, put the sheet on, trap it on one side, run it to the other side, put the sheet on the other side, and I have a background, and I have my light, and I have dedicated car adapter that's charging my computer, and then I have a USB that's charging my phone. I can stream my data. I have a pretty big data packet on my hotspot, so I can teach comfortably 12 back-to-back classes if I need to, just with my hotspot going before I have to deal with anything. And I can do that for several days. That is a godsend. I am telling you guys. And it works with Macs or PCs. Just make sure you pay for a reliable hotspot packet. It is worth it. It is for your classroom. You're not using it for anything else. So at the end of the year, you give it to your tax advisor. They deal with that and make sure that your business charges line up so that you are getting credit for the devices that you use in your classroom. Okay, so that is how you can deal with light outages. Bring a blanket. Parents can't see you from there down. It's cold or rainy or windy. Put the blanket over your legs. I bought a little bamboo computer tray, and I put it across my lap, and I put the computer on it, and I teach my classes. And I use 100% Google Slides whenever I am dealing with an emergency like that. I do not have handheld props because they fall in a car and I cannot get them because everything is dark beyond the dome of the ring light. Okay, so that is how you do it. Do not stress, okay? You can do this. You can teach online from your car. A lot of people would go to the Starbucks or McDonald's if you don't have a hotspot. So you just take your car. I know it's 2 o'clock in the morning, but the Wi-Fi is still on at McDonald's. You go to the McDonald's parking lot, find a good place where you get a strong enough signal. Keep checking and checking and checking to make sure that signal is strong. Don't just look at the ping in the classroom. Go online and do a speed test using the China speed test and the VIPKID speed test to make sure you have enough to get through. You will be surprised at how well you do. Keep still in class. When I'm moving around, I know a lot of you don't see any issues because I have a kick behind camera right here. So it's tracking me, and it's not buffering, it's a good clear quality picture. But when you're using limited light on your webcam, there may be a delay in your movement, and it's putting too much on the computer and the resources. So kind of keep as still as you can, keep peppy and smiling, and teach the little ones. Be enthusiastic with a slow high five so that your computer's resources aren't being taxed as you teach in an emergency case. Okay, do not teach in an emergency case when it's not safe. There's a tornado, do not take your behind to Starbucks to teach. Those classes are a wash. You stay safe and you take care of yourself. Okay? You will cancel, you'll use the policy I told you at the beginning of the video to cancel your classes. So I really hope this helps. I know this is a long video, but this is a lot of emergencies happening in the US all at once. And I want to make sure everyone stays safe, they're taking care of themselves and their families first. So this is Lucien the Smiling Teacher, and I hope everyone stays safe, stay warm, conserve your energy, and just be blessed. I'm praying for all of you.